It's Sunday. Welcome to Steve's Place. Tonight we're going to have a guest, Dr. Spencer. He'll be clue us in on things that we need to know to stay healthy and alive in that tip-top condition. But in the meantime, I want to remind everybody to be sure to come to our conference this year uh, in Albuquerque, August 7th to 11th at the Crown Plaza Hotel. If you click on the QR code there, that will take you right to our website, uh, TeslaTech.info. And we do have an online program, which is like 100 pages of material. Right now, I'm finishing up the 16-page mailer that we'll be mailing out um, as soon as I get it back from the printer next month. And and then I'd also like to encourage everybody to join us on the YouTube channel. If you're not a subscriber, you should subscribe. We're trying to put stuff up every week. This last week I've been kind of preoccupied with getting this program out, but we'll get you um, some new videos up there this week. And like I say, I just can't encourage you enough. And subscription is great. It's free, okay, and it gives you access to about a couple hundred videos. But we have over 1,000 videos, close to about 2,000 videos, And to see them all, you need to become a member, okay? To get to it, you just go to our website, TeslaTech.info, and you'll see this yellow box off in the corner. And you click on that, that'll bring up our channels. We have a conference directory where all of the videos are arranged by conferences. So if you know what conference you want to check out, you click on that and you can pick it out. Or down below, we have a speaker directory, which is a work in progress. I'm still adding speakers. I got probably 100 or so more to go, but I'm constantly adding speakers up there. And so go check it out and become a member, an exclusive member. It's $9.99 a month. Gives you global access anywhere on the moon. I mean, anywhere on Earth, you can see it. And if they get people up on the moon, they'll probably have internet access and be able to watch it up there too. It's a bargain. $9.99 a month gives you access to thousands of videos. We're talking 30 years worth of video on material you're not going to find elsewhere. And these people are not, a lot of them are not, are have left the planet here. They passed away. So you're not going to see any new material from them. So you got to get the wisdom from their videos when they were here on Earth. Anyway, once again, come to our conference, and here's Dr. Steven Spencer.
Thanks for the introduction, Steve. And thank you, Karen, for introducing me to you. I am Steven Spencer. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I have an undergrad in exercise science. So my passion started out with exercise and health and nutrition and the food guru segment, and it expanded beyond that later on. So in my early 20s, I began by having bulging discs. And as I experienced this pain, it began to transmute and become worse. So it started out with pain radiating down my leg, losing motor control of my foot. And later on, I was diagnosed with things such as MS. I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, you name it, a host of conditions. And what it came down to was everything is so intertwined and related to the universe. And so we have people like Tesla on Earth who find all this amazing technology. But I would argue that our body and our mind connected to the universe is an even greater technology, because we can't even comprehend and understand how infinite our mind is. Our mind is scalable. And when I say that the mind is scalable, it means it defies the laws of physics. And the only thing that limits us is our perception. And our perception is controllable, right? So divinity is not religious. Divinity is the set of limitations you set through your perception. And it's only our perception that manifests diseases. And what I want to teach everyone today and go through is I want you to understand that the pain, fears, and challenges of life are actually happening for you and not to you. And there's a meaning behind them. And in understanding that message the universe is communicating through you, you can heal. You can heal your relationships. You can heal your body. You can heal your life. You can create financial abundance, whatever it is. You are the person standing in the way, but you're not doing it to yourself on purpose. You're not doing it to yourself consciously. It's your subconscious mind. And that's what I call the love language of the universe, is the subconscious mind, because that's why we're all here. We're transcending through the pains, fears, and challenges and the limitations we set in our subconscious mind. And it's 98% of our thought. The conscious thought is only 2%. So in that, let's break down how spontaneous remission actually happens and the love language of the universe, because karma is not what you perceive. So when I talk about karma, the world, the way they perceive karma is, oh, I did something bad, right? And there's an amazing story that I like to tell patients that I see. And basically you have two men. One man is walking and he walking down the road and he finds a gold token. He's like, oh my God, I'm so fortunate. I must have done something amazing to receive this kind of wealth and abundance in my life. But he took that gold coin and he went to the brothel and spent it on a prostitute. And you have another man who's walking down the road and he steps on a nail. And as he steps on the nail, it goes into his foot and he has a flesh wound. But he picks up the nail and he puts it on the side of the road because he doesn't want anyone else to get hurt. And conventional wisdom would say, oh man, the guy that found the gold coin must have done something really great. But the reality, and the other man must have done something bad to see the punishment for having the nail go through his foot. But there's such a deeper story behind this, because the man who found the gold coin, it was his fate to find the gold. But the problem is he was really supposed to find a whole treasure chest of gold, but because of his actions in life, he only got the one token. He made poor choices. The other man was actually supposed to have his foot amputated, but he just had a minor flesh wound because of how he acted in life. So things are not as we appear at face value, and we can't judge every situation. It's your judgment and need to control. Those are the speeding tickets for your trying to rush divine timing. Pain, fears, challenges, anger, resentment, frustration, those are just speeding tickets. So we want to come to understand the love language of the universe. As we understand that, we create freedoms and we become mind-heart coherence, and that's where you be powerful. That's how we change the world, because a courageous man wants to change the world, but a wise man always begins with himself. You can't force others to change, but my God, they will follow and they will lead when they see you living a life that they would dream of having. So let's see. Steve, can you blow up the screen for me for the, there we go. That's what I need. Thank you. So I can't talk to everybody, but most people believe in this law of attraction now. Things like The Secret have made it so popular, and the law of attraction is real. But for some reason, there's people who go into meditation, they go to Joe Dispenza events and they feel amazing when they're there. They go to Tony Robbins and they feel amazing when they're there. But when they go back home, they slip back into their old habits. And why doesn't this law of attraction always work? Because sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. The answer is always in the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is creating a frequency. Remember, it's 98% of your thought. So the illness that haven't healed yet, there's just subconscious portals that need to be gone through, and consciousness that needs to come to the situation. The traumatic events that happen in your life, your reality. That's why I say life is happening through you and not to you. And so, like for instance, you have relationships and you lose these, like society looks at things and they judge them and they say it's good, it's bad, right? But the way I look at everything is it's interesting because it's happening for a reason. And so you want to look at the marriage that failed and go back and dread on it, anger towards the other person. And those are a charge that attracts your experiences in the subconscious mind, even though you're not thinking about it. It's running a pattern over and over and over. And that's out of protection. So the relationship, even though you're upset that it failed, how do you know that the universe wasn't protecting you, has a better path for you and a better partner? How do you know that that loss of the job wasn't happening because you have such a greater skill or purpose here on earth? How do you know that that health ailment that you're suffering from isn't delivering a message because we are spiritual beings having a human experience? It's not just the 3D world here. It's the matrix of reality that you've created with your thought. And the universe is mostly space. It's like 98% space. And matter is 2%. So in that, we know that it's mostly space. It's not real. You're creating it as you act, think, and speak. And so there's no room for anything but love, because fear, hate, dread, worry, those are all creating an experience that you don't wish to have. And so thank God you lost that job. Thank God that relationship failed. Thank God that person stole from you, because it's not a prison sentence, it's just a lesson, and you can change it. Every single thing, it doesn't matter, the most scary things that you can think of, such as cancer or car accidents, fractures, you know, loss of family members and loved ones, all these things are just you focusing on what's happening in this world when it's such a larger picture. And we are spiritual beings. We are light beings having a human experience. And we hold 30 million trilovolts of electricity within our cells. And that's all controlled with our mind. It controls that flow of electrons. So let's go to the next slide, Steve. All right. So how does manifestation actually work? If it's real and the law of attraction is real, we have to understand that our conscious thought is 2% and our subconscious mind is 98% of thought. That's the attractor pattern. And so it's set up so intricate. And we look at the universe and how it's designed, and we have the solar system and the way that the planets are aligned and the way that the solar systems are formed. They're identical to the synaptic activity in our brain. They look the same. When we look at our lungs and the way that they're formed, they're trees. Our bronchioles are like trees. So we exchange air. So the universe is too perfectly designed to be fair. But what's interesting is when you understand it, there is no pain, because we realize there's a meaning behind everything. And so our DNA is an antenna into the quantum field. And that's the Akashic records that hold everything that's happened through our lineage, through past lives, through this life. It holds an engram or a blueprint of that experience. And that is our chakras. And a lot of people know what chakras are. They're in Ayurvedic medicine. And in India, they focus a lot on these chakras. And so the Chinese focus on meridians and acupuncture, but they all have a purpose and a reason, a little bit different energy lines. And so the DNA then creates these waves into the quantum field. So we have particles and we have waves. In your body, particles are neurotransmitters or hormones or digestive enzymes or immune factors. And the thing is they vibrate. Our cells vibrate, and it sends a wave into that quantum field that pulls it in. That cell then is the capacitor for our energy, and that holds it. And then when it holds that energy, the mitochondria has to drive that energy through those meridians. And that's the engine that drives it. But something has to direct the traffic, and that's the Merkaba. And a lot of people don't know what the Merkaba is. They talk about it in Jewish mysticism, but the Merkaba is at the base of our spine, near the sacrum. And it directs the flow of that energy to the meridians. And when that energy becomes restricted with negativity in the brain, now we experience pain, fears, and challenges in life, including health issues. And so all that I do is I interpret the message the universe is telling to you so you can have spontaneous remission. And healing happens in an instant. Or it can be painful. How do you choose for your life to be? Would you like it to be hard or easy? Because whatever you say it is, that's what it is. When you say I'm healthy, your body follows it. The body follows the mind. And so the universe is just too perfectly designed to be fair. And we have to realize that we're in control of our bodies and our minds. And we have to transcend through these messages the universe is giving to us, because they're just the subconscious mind's expression. And so we have the limbic system, right? Or this is the triune brain, right? And the triune brain is composed of this limbic system. And they're right under the cerebrum of the brain, the right and left hemispheres. And it includes the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, and the amygdala. So Your hippocampus is your memory. It remembers everything that's ever happened, this life, past life. And your hypothalamus controls your autonomic function, and the amygdala is the emotion. So let's just put this in perspective. Something happens to you at 10 years old. Your dad goes into a bar and he leaves you alone in the car because he wants to drink. You perceive that my father abandoned me. People leave me. They only care about themselves. And then the world starts to mirror that around you because that's your belief system. And you have this anxiety and this fear around being left alone and being hurt, and that nobody cares about you, or men are bad, And so you can choose the road of being the better person and choosing never be that, but you can still have the pain running a program. So that thing happened at 10 years old. You put that experience in the hippocampus as a memory, holding on to the emotion as an engram in the amygdala, which then our bodies go in that fight or flight with that negative emotion, that fear of abandonment. And then our autonomic system's in fight or flight. So your heart rate's elevated, your respiration's elevated, and it's running that pattern constantly. And that's what restricts that energy flow that I explained earlier on through those meridians and through the DNA in your chakras. So thank God for cancer. Thank you, heart disease. Thank you, diabetes, right? All the age-related diseases. Thank you, because those things don't have to happen. We are in control of them. And so there's perceived stress. And that's all that is perceived stress. It doesn't even exist because we're creating it. And life is perception. So nobody consciously would ever choose to feel pain in their body. Nobody consciously would choose to have a divorce from somebody they loved. Nobody would consciously choose to hurt another. And they're all just thought viruses. And you don't have to live with those. So interpreting those messages has a vibration. And the vibration I speak of, everybody talks about, Nikola Tesla and 369, energy, frequency, and vibration. That's the keys to the universe. And your thoughts have a vibration. Your voice has a vibration. They have a frequency. And that frequency, positive, is the flow of life. The resistance to it and the negativity restricts the flow of life, because our emotions are energy in motion. And motion is a change, or emotion is change. And change is the essence of life. Energy can't be created and it can't be destroyed. Good, bad, it's just your perception. And so everything's just interesting. And when we have disease, we have a restriction to the flow of life. And that's what universe is teaching you. It's telling you to forgive your father. It's telling you to believe in yourself and not have low self-esteem. It's telling you to not be afraid. The Bible has all kinds of great metaphors in it, just the faith of a mustard seed. And, it's not even about that little bit of faith, because you want to know, not believe. You want to know, because knowing is stronger than believing. That means that when you know, you're in control. When you don't have doubt, you have control. You know what's going to happen. You're directing the flow of life. You're dodging all these obstacles. Your intuition's on point. You know it's for you, and you know it's not, and you make rational decisions. And we know that Nikola Tesla states, if you understand these terms I talked about, energy, frequency, and vibration, but that leads us to personal accountability and knowing that we have this perception and we can shift it and we can change our consciousness. Now, there's a book, Power versus Force, David Hawkins, and he talked about the vibrational frequency of our thoughts and the emotions, or not even our thoughts, but the emotions are created from our thoughts. And so on the low end is guilt and shame that are, low vibration at 20 and 30, and it goes all the way up to 1,000, which is the ultimate form of consciousness. 700,000 is enlightenment. And there's everything in the middle. And enlightenment is just being in love with every experience, loving every experience that happens, the good, the bad, every aspect, because it happens for a reason. And that it brings us to the fact that we have this thing called quantum entanglement. Our thoughts are so powerful in the subconscious mind, is that it's warping the time-space continuum, and it's drawing those experiences into you. And you can't force others to change, but what you can do is you can change yourself. And there's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people feel secure around you. You are born to manifest the glory of God. It's not just a song, it's in all of us. And as you let your own light shine, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So as we reach that higher level of consciousness, we empower others to heal their life, to be in their heart, listen to their intuition, forgive. And then we don't live in this world of poisons and toxins and the energy flows and we don't have wars. But you're never going to work at it and change it through voting. And you're never going to change it by protesting. The biggest example you can set is by changing yourself and having the biggest heart. And your mind, when you open your heart and you connect to your mind, and it's in congruence and frequency with the universe, what happens is your crown chakra opens. That's at the top, and it pulls that energy down into the pineal gland. That's piezoelectric. And it creates a frequency that pulls in those experiences that you desire because your mind, heart, coherent. And then you act, move, and speak in the ways of love, which is your throat chakra. And that frequency resonates. It resonates on these fractals of energy. And it pulls people and engages people. You can reach consciousness through reading a book. You can reach it through doing the subconscious reprogramming that I do. You can reach it through listen to a lecture. You can reach it in so many different ways. But the world is always communicating to you. And the fastest way to consciousness is to do what the Buddha did. The Buddha went into the forest and he tried to meditate. He did acts of feats of strength and torture. And what he came to the realization was none of that brought consciousness, but what brought consciousness is throwing him into the mix with society and his family and the struggles and the challenges and the lack of communication and dealing with other people. Through those things and understanding, he reached consciousness, enlightenment. So you can change your energetic frequency and reach enlightenment. Every single person has the capability. That's why you're here. You're just here to learn lessons. And so why does our frequency change? And the way I deal with the stresses of life with people is I harmonize it through love. Just as the word changes frequency and changes your mind's vibration and that quantum entanglement that goes into the universe and those galaxies that reflects that experience into your reality. So Dr. Morosu Emoto was this Japanese scientist that discovered that words and music influence the molecular structure of water. And your body's 85 to 90% water. So it changes our chemical makeup and it changes cell potentiation, the way the cells communicate. And those cells, when they communicate, are transferring electrons. That's all that's happening. Our mitochondria are just moving those electrons. So when we have disease, it's just a lack of flow of electrons and reductive stress, creating these reactive oxygen species and free radicals that are damaging the cell. So when we transform in the way of love, it transfers the electrons. And oh my God, we don't have MS anymore. We don't have herniated discs. Our cartilage heals, our discs reheighten. All this stuff is amazing. And it does this through the triad of health. We have emotional, biochemical, and structural and spiritual imbalances. And those are the things that are out of whack that are limiting that energy flow that then, and you can see here, I want to show you the slide. This is a patient before a treatment. You can see all the blood cells are actually clumped together. And then there's something called rouleau, the blood clumps. And cells can't potentiate. They can't transfer electrons. They can't communicate. This is what creates disease. Changes our iron and magnesium and sodium gradient within the fluid, the body fluid in the blood. And after a treatment, when we're connected to love, there's an immune cell right there. Look at that beautiful white blood cell. But that white blood cell, then all these others are red blood cells, and those red blood cells are perfect. They're communicating to each other in harmony in a place of love, a place of accepting oneself. And through that, we create this amazing life with incredible health beyond your wildest dreams. But when we don't live up to our potential in our fire element in Chinese medicine. So you have fire, earth, metal, water, wood. These are all Chinese medicine. This is Chinese medicine. This is the 5 element theory of Chinese medicine. And the fire element has a purpose. It deals with rising up to our potential. The earth element deals with nurturing ourselves. The metal element deals with being strong and sturdy, not swaying. We're like the steel building. The bladder and the kidney in the water element deal with being like Bruce Lee said, the flow, going with the flow of life, transform, right? So be like water, move fluidly through life. Don't judge situations, perceive them. Transform, solid, liquid, gas, plasma, transfer through all those experiences, because if you're like water, you eventually win. You penetrate through that rock. It's just persistent. And we always get to that goal. And truly, we never really die. Our soul never dies. Our spirit never dies. This life, yes, but we reincarnate. It's just energy. Remember, energy can't be created nor destroyed. You never die. Every single thing has life and never dies. Everything has consciousness. So your thoughts have consequences, positive, negative. It just changes the flow of life through the meridians. So let's just say in the fire element, dealing with emotions of abandonment, because the fire element and the heart and the small intestine and the sex organs, they all deal with abandonment. That's one of the emotions in the fire element. And so let's just say that you had a man leave your life, unbeknownst, just up and walked out of your life, and you feel abandoned, you feel hurt, and you feel left. That energy stops flowing through the fire element within the Luo pathway within itself. And when that happens, you have a broken heart from the abandonment. And later on, you have heart palpitations. You have heart disease. You have atrial fibrillation. But you created that because you were restricting energy flow because of the feelings of abandonment of that relationship of that man leaving you. But again, love harmonizes it. Thank you. I forgive you. I love you. That is the mantra. And we can change that flow of energy, and we can change the symptoms that you're experiencing, because the universe is just communicating to you. That's the love language of the universe. Forgive that man for leaving you. We're doing this for a reason. It was intended to happen. There's nothing outside of you. Love yourself. Know that the right person, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. The right person will show up as you love yourself, but nobody will love you until you love yourself. A person cannot truly love until they accept every parts of themselves, because they can't forgive others when they haven't forgiven themselves yet. So when we restrict this emotion, this painful event happened with the man leaving, what happens is it expresses itself in different ways. It could be through emotion held in the hippocampus and the amygdala. It could be a biochemical experience that needs to be drained, and it could affect and be held in your muscle tissue or your bones or in the cartilage. And then that abandonment is held in that cartilage, or it's held in the brain. And that's restricting that flow of life. Remember, the Merkaba restricts that flow of energy. And when that energy is restricted, it manifests itself in real form, which appears real to us, even though everything's really just space. It's only 2% matter, or mass, I should say. Mass and base make up matter, but it's mass. So that mass is only 2%. And your mind is that DNA in the chakra system. And genes are the gun, but the environment is the trigger. It's the emotions that are a trigger. So we control our gene expression with our thoughts. We can manifest disease when their energy is restricted to that fire element. Our spirit, which is our particles and waves, right? It's that rose REM sleep patterns. It can be held in the spirit, which is held out in the quantum realm, right? Remember I talked about quantum entanglement? That's how everything's happening. It's stored in those Akashic records, and the DNA is pulling that in. So it's held as an engram in the spirit, or it's held in your body, or it's held within the DNA in the mind, causing the gene expression. All these factors are actually happening. And it's done. Trauma is stored in the back of the mind for survival. It's like, I don't want to do that again. It's a learning process. But as we open our hearts and forget the situation, understand the meaning, painful experiences don't need to exist. They don't need to happen in your life. And you can beat them to the punch. You can change the planetary alignment with your thoughts. That's how powerful your thoughts are. You have 30 million trillion volts of electricity. Use that energy to change the quantum field and pull in different experiences into your life. So the answer to approach life, if we understand that the universe is communicating through you and not to you, and it's not judgment, it's not karma, it's not happening because you're a bad person in a past life. It's happening because you have patterns that exist within the subconscious mind of being 98% of your thought. And I have a I guess a poem or something that I wrote. I want to pull that up. Actually, you guys won't be able to see it, but I'm going to pull this up and I'm just going to read it to you guys. And then we'll open up to some questions if you guys got questions and things like that, because I'd love to answer your questions and help you understand this complex term since society has taught us so differently. And let me just pull this up here. This is the best way to approach life. And the way I do it is I look at every day. And my form of meditation is to look at my experiences that happen with me and my dog, with my patients, with the society around me, the things that are happening in the world. And knowing that I'm so powerful, harnessing these 30 million volts of electricity, I can transform it and I can change it and invite other people to do the same. So everything can transform in a minute, and it all begins with you. Time is eternal. Just a single drop of water holds the heart of the past. A single moment holds the heart of all time, the past and the future. Those who grasp the moment grasp the wholeness of time and its journey. Remember, life is the greatest gift we are given, open to the infinite possibilities. There is only one thing for you to do, and that is to surrender. Let life flow through you and you flow with it. Let yourself live. You connect with others through love or through fear. Let it be love. Let it be infinite love and gratitude. Gratitude is love in action. Connect with love, and the universe will support you and protect you. It will embrace you with its loving arms, and not only in times of joy and pleasure, but also in darkness, grief, and in danger. Don't run from any of it. Don't be afraid to laugh or to cry. Embrace all of it. Enjoy it. This is the only way you will grasp the wholeness of every moment. You will live a full life. Don't be afraid of living it. Let time make you. Don't be anyone else. Find out who you are and spread your wings to life. And as you spread your wings, your soul will appear. That's how you become one with yourself and the world, united with the universe and everything in it. Never stop questioning. Always be curious. Never get tired of asking yourself the same questions over and over and over again for the rest of your life. Who am I? Everything you search for will be found in silence, and it all happens within divine timing. So through that, we can heal our lives. You can heal your life. It's all the subconscious mind and its expression. And learn to love those pains, fears, and challenges and say thank you. So I know it's a complex system that's kind of entwined there. And I would love to open this up to questions if anybody has any. Steve, you want to pull up anybody that's got some questions? I don't see any.
Well, I don't see any comments out there right now.
No, okay.
But I found I believe in what you say.
Yeah.
That you are responsible for your own future.
Yeah.
And you can't control other people and the world around you, but you can control your response to it.
Right.
That's the only thing you have total control over.
How others treat you is their path. How we react is ours.
And I also know that when people do me wrong, okay, how I respond to that is how other people are going to respond. Like if I'm forgiving to them, other people around me will be forgiving to them too.
Yeah.
You know? But if I'm hold that hostility and go super macho on them, everyone around it will reflect that too.
Yeah, you know, it's you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are.
So
Yeah. So it's what's amazing. And that's why I say if you don't like the experience you're having, discover what your thoughts and beliefs are about the world and the people around you. And as you open your heart, you invite people to love you in return. But it starts within you.
And I also know uh, like when I do my conference, okay, uh, once upon a time I'd get all upset if someone didn't show up, one of the
Yeah.
speakers, But now I have fair ways of dealing with that, but I'm not even concerned about that because I know that if a person who's supposed to
Show up.
who had show up but he wasn't supposed to be there, he's not going to be there. It's
Correct.
like the universe pushes those who aren't supposed to be there, and everyone who are there is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So that's to come our conferences, are unlike a lot of conferences. There's not a lot of anger out in the hallways. People aren't walking around with a lot of frowns. Everyone is having a great time. Everyone has a smile on their face and that. And so I think that how you act is how people respond to you.
Well, yeah, 100%. Um, it's an interesting scenario. So, let's just say that let's just say that you go to a conference, you go to one of your events, and you don't feel well. That can actually ripple into that audience and affect them in a negative way. But you can change how you feel in an instant. Viruses can spontaneously just combust and go away if your immune system will recognize it. And we have viruses and bacteria running around our bodies all the time that our immune system recognizes, but there's something that triggers it. And so just like we can trigger our bodies to heal instantaneously, we can transform crowds. We can transform the energy in rooms. And it's because we emit scalar waves, right? Tesla talked about scalar waves. There's guys that have created scalar machines that vibrate on frequencies, and those frequencies then transform the mood of the room. So you can play a frequency of fear and anger, and everybody's gonna be fighting in the room, or it could be love. But your body is a scalar wave generator. So your mind is scalable. It produces scalar waves, and you can change rooms. That's why I say Buddhist monks meditated for world peace for a period of time, and they were able to create it just with their thoughts and intentions.
Okay, well, here's a comment for you.
Yeah.
Can this be used to regrow limbs in the future?
I believe anything is possible. Never seen it happen, but I believe anything is possible. The only limitation is what you set in your life. It
says I reckon we just have to change our current limiting thoughts about the topic.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe it can't happen. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, why did the universe present you with a situation that you lost a limb? What meridian goes through that finger that you lost, or the loss of blood flow from diabetes? What are the belief systems that are there that have to transmute and transform? Can you jump timelines and jump to a different dimension? And I mean, anything and everything is possible. You shouldn't set limitations, right? This is why I don't believe in setting goals, because goals set limitations. How do you know that you can't be destined for greater? How do you know that you can't regenerate that limb? I don't know because I don't want to set those limitations on myself or society's advancement.
I believe it can be done. If you ever read the book Body Electric by Robert, and they were doing salamanders, they cut the salamander and regrows in that, and they were starting to regrow stuff on kids before the powers that be got involved and shut that down.
Yeah, frequency specific microcurrent, Jerry Tennant.
Yeah. And so I believe it's possible. We just don't like I'm reading now where they can start regrowing teeth, up in Canada.
Well, I can tell you this: I've done it. So I had a cavity. I went through this relationship with this woman, and I was like horrified. I believed in this whole twin flame thing and all this other stuff. And I loved the woman to death, and she just perceived worlds so differently and accused me of things that weren't reality. And I couldn't get through to her, and she wouldn't listen. And anyway, the deal is I think she was the one who was manipulative and lying and accused me of the things she was doing. Funny how that works. But through that, I ended up with a cavity, and I'd never had a cavity in my life. at all. I actually had, you could just see that it was in the canine tooth right there, and there was a hole developing. So I cleared the subconscious emotion that was behind the triggers of that experience that was happening. And I gave myself a high dose of boron and introduced calcium, not in supplemental form, but from raw milk, because it contains the enzymes to utilize that, and got lots of sunlight. And sunlight activates our ATPase enzyme. And those ATPase enzyme then absorbs calcium, right? And boron. And our teeth are made of calcium. So now all of a sudden the energy flows into the tooth. The emotion is clear. There's no restriction. And teeth regenerate, just like when you cut yourself. But we gotta get the sunlight to produce the CO2 to kill the bacteria, Streptococcus mutans, that's degrading the teeth. So it's like we need CO2, we need sunlight, we need boron, we need calcium, and clear the emotion, and the teeth regenerate.
Well, I hope that's so, because I'm missing the whole mouthful.
we got a number to do on you. You know, look, I mean, we can run a portal on you. I know you're a little bit more private of a guy. We can do something privately if you want. But, you know, not only that, can we clear the emotion, but, you know, we need to get the floor balance right, improve your CO2 levels, and get your nutrition on point, right? And there's a whole number of things we have to do, because health isn't just our emotions. It's 7 things. It's water, it's food, it's rest, it's exercise, it's our mind, it's environment, and it's posture. And environment is our lighting environment and our electromagnetic fields that are in the environment. So it's all those components, and you can't leave one out. A lot of doctors like to focus on nutrition. They like to focus on the emotions and the subconscious mind and psychology. They like to focus on the structure and adjusting people, but they're missing all the other components. So of course you're going to have limited results, and you're never going to be able to help everybody, because some people just don't want to change. The pain or the illness actually serves them in some way until they change. The universe is, that's why the universe is communicating through them. But you can give people the tools and the answers, and that's the best that you can do. You can't make people, you can't take the horse. You can take the horse to the water trough, but you can't make him drink.
And the other part of that is to choke it up if you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, life is a bowl of cherries. You know, it's just whether you want the pits or the full.
Yeah, of course, like Forrest Gump, life's a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get, but the subconscious mind created it, and so did you. Thank you. Be grateful for it, because gratitude is love in action.
Okay, here's another comment for you. Seems like this relates to alchemy, a mental alchemy, if you will.
Well, 100%. I would call myself a metaphysical alchemist. I'm transforming people's lives through energy and their beliefs.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope you can find the time to come to the conference. You know, I think you'd have a great time if you did.
Yeah.
And
who do you got presenting there?
Pardon?
Who do you have presenting there?
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we have like
who stands out in your mind? What's the speaker you're most interested in that's attending your conference?
You asked me to commit suicide. But here, let me where's my speaker list? I don't know if you can see that or not.
Well, blow it up. Right, let's make it the whole screen. Let me blow it up. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. I can see now.
Yeah. So there's like over 20 speakers, you know, close to 20.
Oh, Karen's speaking. You should try to get a hold of is Doug Wallace. Doug Wallace talks about our mitochondrial DNA.
Well, that might be next year.
And the electron transport chain. And it ties in with a lot of the work that I'm doing, along with Bruce Lipton and DNA and Greg Braden and so many other spiritual masters that are out there teaching amazing things. Greg Braden is there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the best of the best. You know, but yeah, he'll be there, and him and John Peterson will be covering Saturday night for me, and they'll be talking about all this change that we're being faced with today. You know, and it's being aggravated with all this AI that's they're throwing in there on top of us. You know, and so they're going to explain what's going on and how to deal with it.
Yeah,
That's going to be
AI is loss of consciousness, right? I mean, it's basically you're outsourcing your consciousness and critical thought to something or someone else. It's like listening to a medium, or it's like listening to a psychic and saying that's my reality because you're making that reality. Good or bad, that psychic is directing you, and you believe the things that they're saying. So a lot of times you can make them come true. But
well.
you
I
don't
think,
realize that. The whole thing is your consciousness level drops when you follow psychics. Your consciousness level drops when you listen to mediums, because what happens is you're making their reality yours, and you're the driver of your universe. There's nothing in this world that you have to do. Nothing. You're creating it through as you act, think, and speak.
well, one of the things I hear, like people say, well, if God is, if there's a God, then why does He let these poor kids starve in Africa? I'm sure you heard of that.
Because he's not. They're doing it to themselves.
And
They're creating the experience. They manifested it.
well,
There's something they're learning in this life.
well, my response is, first of all, it's a godless world. Okay, this is
Well, hold on. I don't agree with that. And here's why.
well, let me
You're
finish.
made in God's image. You're made in God's image, and you create just as Him, just as Jesus said. And the universe isn't doing it to you. You're doing it to yourself because of your thoughts and beliefs. Those children that are there, yes, they are at adversity, and they're at challenging situations, and absolutely help them. But the best way we can help them is to give them tools, not bail them out because they don't have the tools. We got to give them tools to educate themselves, to provide for themselves, right? And some of those people that they think, oh, they're in poverty, they're hungry, they're starving, they can't listen. The thing of it is yes, it does exist, but at the same time, they can provide for themselves. They just need the tools. So why don't we just give them the tools? Right? Instead of just handing it over to them, because they'll destroy it if you just give them the thing, right? Give them the tools, help them in a way, teach them. Don't donate to governments. Don't donate, because they're just going to use it to prop up their own campaigns, right? You want to make a difference, go grassroots.
Well, first of all, this is supposed to be a godless world, and this is Satan's domain. But the only way that God will intervene is if you have to make the invitation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. You're right. We live in a godless world because people have excluded God from them. They don't recognize their power. That's correct.
And so we have to turn around and you have to invite Him in. But we also have an obligation to seek the highest level of enlightenment, okay, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Because not everyone in the world has even heard of Jesus, for instance. And you're going to learn about Him eventually, but you're always seeking the highest level of spirituality. That's our mission here, I believe.
Consciousness.
Yeah. Higher consciousness.
Consciousness is vibration, right? Remember, it's 700 to 1,000. That's consciousness.
So that gets us to this question right here. Simple ways to raise your vibration.
Change your thoughts and beliefs about the world. That's the simplest way to put it. I went through the whole complex internalization, denial, and disconnection from emotion, those power centers, in your thoughts, feelings, and actions. But if we reflect on those thoughts, feelings, and actions that we actually have as you're driving in the car, as you're thinking about others, are those positive or are those negative? Because if they're not positive, it's restricting the flow of life and you're attracting those painful experiences. So when the painful experiences happen, that's what must be done, is to change our view, to not be afraid of outcomes, to listen to our hearts, because that changes the flow of energy through our kundalini. The chakras connect all the kundalini. And it's not this mystical spiritual thing. The kundalini is actually our cerebral spinal fluid. And it transfers those electrons into the pineal gland that gives you the intuition. It washes it. So it's the pituitary pump that moves our cerebral spinal fluid is the kundalini energy. It's simple anatomy and physics. And so we don't have to think it's some mystical thing that just happens magically. I need to figure out how to access it. Just change the way you view the world. Have nothing but love in your heart. Because that love transfers the electrons and moves them, and it doesn't restrict the flow of life. Restriction to the flow of life creates reactive oxygen species, and it creates free radicals that limit our cells' ability to utilize nutrients. And then we end up with heart disease, dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer, MS, right? I was diagnosed with MS. I couldn't walk. I lost motor control of my right foot. But by God, I said there's a way to figure it out. And I learned the love language of the universe. And I don't have Lyme disease. It doesn't exist. A host or a pathogen does not affect a host that's in the right vibrational frequency. I don't get sick. And if I did get sick, I'm thankful for it. I say thank you, and I want to find out why. What did I do? And what are my thoughts and beliefs that are restricting the flow of life? Because it's teaching you. Life is just teaching you. And it's a mirror. It's giving you the tools. You're not listening. Open your ears, open your heart, and experience life flow through you.
Yeah. So I try to kind of follow that throughout my whole life, you know.
We don't try anything, Steve.
Well,
we do it.
That's nice to say, but sometimes you just don't succeed, you know.
Well, hold on. But nobody fails. There's only lessons. There's no mistakes. You don't fail. You don't fail unless you quit. Right? You know, TeslaTech you didn't develop a name with TeslaTech and put these conferences together overnight. This is cultivated over time, and you didn't quit.
No, and I'm not getting rich either, you know.
Okay, well,
I live a very
the first step is saying, I feel this way.
Yeah.
I am happy. I feel amazing, financially wealthy, able to provide for others with more than I could ever ask for. Safe and protected. And then that's the portal into the subconscious mind. Because if you don't resonate with that belief, it isn't going to happen. If you say, well, I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy, cool. Then you're not. And the universe isn't going to give it to you because you have to feel the emotion in the experience as if it's already happened.
Yeah, that depends on how you define rich and everything. Like, I'm not money rich. Never have been. Closest thing is when I worked as an electrical engineer and was making the big bucks, so to speak, way back then. But
you are rich. Allow the universe to bring it to you.
I have friends, you know, all over the world.
Yeah.
And I've been able to go to places. Most people never leave their within about 25, 30 miles of their house, you know.
Yeah.
We're fortunate to go all over this country, you know, just about to all the states almost, you know.
Yeah.
Been to a couple of different places around the world, you know. And I just don't need the.
That's, you know, here's the thing. That's so amazing. You know how many people never leave their hometown?
Most people.
Right. It's probably like 80% of the population don't ever leave their hometown. You know what I mean? Like, think about, here's the thing. You're like, oh, I'm not a rich man. Think about all the things you've done in life. You're rich in experiences, but at the same time, remember, I am rich because the universe is going to bring it to you. Because if you're not rich, you don't embody that. It restricts the flow of life. It restricts it through your cells. Your cells are vibrating. I am rich.
But it's a different form, you know.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, and I'm not sad, you know. And the thing is if you're really looking to raise your vibration and want some love, get a pet, get a dog.
Oh yeah, it absolutely can. But here's caution to that. When we rely on happiness from outside sources, not internally, it can be taken away. What happens when you lose the money? What happens when you lose the animal? What happens when you lose the house? When you know what I mean? You can't go on the trip because somebody you know what I mean? Like, what happens? Because when we put our happiness in external, you know, events, they're temporary. And so our vibration is erratic and it's up and down, right? You know, of course, Zeus raises my vibration, right, buddy? Come here. Come say hi to everybody. Say hi, buddy. So, yeah, of course, animals will, right? Get yourself a dog, but don't make that the reason why your vibration is high, because it's superficial.
It helps,
It helps.
and we have a dog, Bones. We just got him
Yeah.
about a month ago, but we're ready to get him. He's coming to our life. He's a stray, and
Yeah.
and I told Michelle, look, you're not going to pick out a pet, it will come to you. He will find you, and the perfect person for a perfect pet play. And I tell you what, this dog, I think someone just abandoned him. A tag and everything. We put a collar on him, and boy, he loves the collar because that's his symbol that he belongs to a family. This is his family, and now he controls this house. That goes taking over. But yeah. So pets are really good for people.
Yep. Pets are good. Surrounding yourself with positive, healthy people is good. Making good, positive food choices. They can restrict the flow of energy, and foods can raise your vibration. Sunlight raises our vibration. Yeah. I mean, every experience, is around you can be filled with love if you choose it to be.
Well, I see the difference. He's made in Michelle's life. Michelle's my ex-wife. She lives with me. But he makes a difference. And always has. The only problem with pets and that is change. They all die eventually.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing with death. You don't have to be sad about it. How amazing that you got to spend those 20 or 10 to 20 years or 8 years or however long it was with that animal, with that companion. How incredible is that? Why would you not be so grateful? The fact that, yes, they passed away, but I got to spend that time with them. Parents pass away. That's life. And man, that gratitude should be there for that experience that you got to have, because you love them so much. You got to experience so much love. And so why is that so painful when it disappears? Because there's so much in that experience that enriched you, and it's to be grateful for. Remember, gratitude is love in action.
Yeah. Well, it's change. And
but embrace change, because change is the essence of life.
Well, speaking of change, I'd like everyone to be sure to come to the conference because for a lot of people, it's like a family reunion,
Yeah.
You come to this, year after year, and you get to meet people and you make friends that you're going to hold with your lifetime. And
Steve, when is the conference?
August 7th to 11th.
August 7th to 11th. And where's it? Where can everybody go?
At the Crown Plaza Hotel in Albuquerque. And Albuquerque is a good place because you can reach it by train, plane, and automobile.
What else is there to do in Albuquerque that might make people want to go after the conference? They can make a vacation out of it.
There's a tram that takes you up to this mountain.
Yeah.
And on this mountain, Sandia Mountain, first of all, at the base is the best barbecue in town, the county line. And I go there every year. It's the main reason I have my conference in Albuquerque, so I can go there and get the Big Daddy. It's a platter full of ribs. I mean, these are big platters full of ribs, with two sides.
I'm a carnivore at heart.
That's the main reason I go to Albuquerque.
Yeah. Just make sure they're not putting any seed oils on those things.
Yeah.
There's no proof it's allowed on my meat.
Yeah. And if you order a fish there, I won't talk to you. People order fish at a fish store.
You choose fish over ribs. There's something really wrong with going on in your mind.
It's the wrong set. If you want fish, you go to a place that specializes in fish, and you'll never be disappointed that way. If you go to a rib place and you order fish, you might get disappointed. Although they do give good rainbow trout there. So, yeah. And like I say, this conference is a good event. It's a good way to meet people. Kids are free. I mean, teens are free. We're trying to get young people involved in their learning, get out of the computer, so to speak, and into life,
Yeah. What's the website where they can go to purchase the tickets?
TeslaTech.info.
There you go.
And all you got to do is click on that little QR code there, and that'll take you right there. But I hope you can come. I think you'd have a great time. I know you would. Yeah, you probably meet a lot of people you know. Yeah.
Probably. Oh, I'm sure. I wouldn't mind talking to Greg Braden. He's amazing.
And every night we have something. We have food every night. I mean, we have like taco bars, pizza bars, salad bars. We have chicken bars. I mean, there's all kinds of food there. So no one starves at my conference. And the hotel, rooms like $84 a night, and starting at
That's unheard of. I don't know where you can stay for $84 anymore.
Oh, that includes breakfast buffet too. So
I'll probably bring my own food, but that's okay. I'm not gonna eat.
that's okay.
I'll chat on some ribs if they don't put a bunch of toxic seed oil barbecue sauce on there.
I don't know what all they put on there.
Yeah,
probably ask for them not to.
I'm sure. I'll vet all the food for you.
But I kind of like that toxic stuff. I miss once a year. It's not like I have a steady diet of that. But that's a good place. Yeah. So if there's any more comments here, yeah, ribs galore. Yeah. So like I say, come to the conference if you get a chance. Check out the YouTube, channel. Like I say, we're adding new stuff up there every year, every month. Yeah. So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you bring when you travel?
Fruit, honey, grass-fed beef or lamb or venison, elk. I eat only ruminant animals. I don't eat fish. I don't eat turkey. I don't eat chicken. And I do carbohydrates. I do rice and potatoes. So I stay away from, these starch-resistant carbs. I don't want non-starch resistant carbs. I want carbs that are going to spike my insulin drop fast. And I don't want to keep my insulin elevated for long periods of time. And I do whey protein and collagen. So I actually have a document that I wrote on oxidative phosphorylation. That's how we make energy. And you can download it on my website at protouchrehab.com. And as you download that, and as you download it, you can read and understand why I don't eat fish. And you can understand why I choose to not be afraid of sugar. And you can understand why I use collagen and beef gelatin and how it lowers our epinephrine. And there's a reason why, because I'm looking at the electron flow and aerobic respiration, how well we take our oxygen and convert to carbon dioxide and improving that. So the reason I don't do fish is because fish is filled with polyunsaturated fatty acids. It has heavy metals, usually microplastics. But the biggest thing is that omega-3s is a myth. First of all, your body takes linoleic acid and it converts it into EPA and DHA naturally through an enzymatic process in the body if you have sunlight. But beyond that, these like omega-3s, they're very pernicious and they lead to deleterious outcomes. You don't want these unprecedented outcomes because it disrupts glycolysis. They store in your cell membranes. They oxidize very easy. And when those oxidize, it forms reactive oxygen species, and that's what creates disease. So whether it be your mind, whether it be the food you eat, everything has to come with intention. The water you drink, the amount that you sleep, all of these make a difference in your life and the flow of electrons. And we can have this incredible, I don't believe that there's a big limitation on how long we can live. I believe that we could live till 300 years old. In the Bible, they live for 1,000 years old, and it's just because of the way that we're living. It's a toxic environment we've put ourselves in. It's the EMF, it's the blue light, it's the foods we're eating, it's the poisons in the environment. It's everything.
Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. And
okay.
Thank you for coming. I don't want to
yeah.
With that. And this video will be available. Here you got one more.
No.
And if I eat wild caught fish, bless the food I get with love and joy, you think it would negate those?
It definitely can. It assists in it, but why not go for the best option, which is don't eat it.
We'll check the website.
Yeah, we're welcome. Let me know if you got any other questions.
Okay.
Remember, the seed oils and the polyunsaturated fatty acids, including omega-3, stored in the cell membrane for 3 to 7 years. You can accelerate it with blessing food and everything like that. You absolutely can, but we never know what's going on in our subconscious mind. It's 98% of our thought. So who knows what's going to get you? I call it the dildo of unintended consequences. You didn't want it to happen, but it happened because you weren't aware of it.
Okay. Well, thank you, and I hope to see you in the future. And
yeah, you bet. I'm gonna go online. I'm gonna look at tickets now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Steve. God bless you.
And